Hello, people. I have something that I just wanted to discuss and say. Like, it just seems like our society has like a really bad perception of animals, right? And obviously, some jobs, you know, they'll give you like pet insurance, and obviously, there's some pet insurances that you can like, pay into and stuff over time. But here's something that honestly kind of sits with me. For many people, their pets are basically like their children, just as animals, right? Like, everybody loves their pets. A good majority of people do anyway. And yet, a lot of times, if a pet gets a health issue, the most easy option to deal with that issue is to just, euthanize them. Now, why does that sit with me? Well, because it implies that creatures that may be more medically complex, their lives aren't worth it. Like, I knew somebody who had a dog who became diabetic and needed insulin. Well, the insulin for that dog cost like $60 at the cheapest for that bottle. And the only other option that was available to them was that it was quote unquote seen as like more humane to just euthanize that animal. Imagine if we treated people this way. Imagine if we treated people with disabilities this way, as if we've somehow deemed that their lives are worth, less, that their lives aren't worth living because there's a little bit more struggle, a little bit more, a higher likelihood of pain maybe. Like, I don't get it. Why are we the determiners of who gets to live and who doesn't? And I understand for people who may not have insurance or aren't able to pay vet bills, I understand that, euthanizing your pet might be the most humane option available to you. But I don't understand why that needs to be the first option, especially because just because an animal struggles or may have more medically complex needs, that does not make that creature's life less valuable. Maybe there are some charities that exist out there, but a lot of the times people don't want to care for an animal that is medically complex. They don't want to deal with an animal that has health issues because they see it as like, I don't know, an extra expense, more work. I don't really know. But in all honesty, if I had all the money in the world, I would be taking in animals that needed more care because, well, their lives are worth living. Once again, I understand that you don't want that animal to suffer. You don't want them to struggle, But it's like, what do you determine as struggle? What do you determine as pain? Because if we applied this to humans, do you see how that gets into very complicated territory? Because it's like, why are we as humans supposed to be able to decide what lives are worth living? Animals that are missing limbs can still survive and live a life to the best of that animal's ability with, like prosthetics, with extra care, with help. Sometimes they can survive even on their own, right? Like, as long as that animal gets care, they can live a pretty fulfilling life and they can be happy and comfortable. I understand that our society does not value animals as much as it does humans, right? Like, other animals they're seen as lesser for some dumb reason. But our pets, a lot of people see pets as like their second kids. So, I don't know. I think we as a society need to do something more for our pets.